a small throwback right here. One of the first, like, larger-ish indie games we worked on. Larger-ish. It's called Sword of the Stars, The Pit. Larger-ish. Ish. A lot of sounds. A lot of sounds in that game. These are the game assets, Natasha. You got it. Playing from RX. I'm playing the game asset. I couldn't find a... Well, I just knew I had it faster than trying to find it online or something, right? And it loops, right? It's a soundtrack. Easy. And I wanted to find something that was perhaps in line with the intense nerves that Matt Galt is feeling right now. I felt this intro was in line. Little 7/4. 5 and 6 and 7. Cool ass track. Super cool. This is by Ben Lamb, who's largely not in games these days. He kind of moved into like commercial stuff, but he killed it for a while in the game space. If some of you know the Outer Zen track I play occasionally as well. Another throwback to Rockets, Rockets, Rockets. That was also Ben Lamb. Yeah, super good. But anyway, let's do an Alt-Tab, shall we? Over here. Yeah. There you go. Nervous as hell, baby. Let's go. Turi, good to see you as always. Matt Fisher. Hey, pal. Official. W me. What up? Ed Hipkins. You're coming up soon, aren't you? Soon? In heavy air quotes. I don't know how soon is, but you're let me see here. September 16th. Maybe. TBD it says. I need a link from you. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Jonesy, this track hits. It's good. You know, I'm gonna change it over actually. It was between this one and you have 2 tabs open, right? Let's go. Let's do this instead. The whole soundtrack's pretty good actually. Fun. Fun. Tuba Hero, I gotta dip out soon myself. I found my library has free Unity classes, and I can start working on my implementation game. That's cool. Yeah, go do that. I mean, the library probably doesn't have like a VOD you can watch, so go do the class in person. Or do it online? I don't know, whatever it is. And come back and watch us later. Easy. It's so convenient here at twitch.tv/powerupaudio. Online for now, there you go. Submerged Tapes, what's up? A lot of old names here, excellent. Good to see y'all. And TI-1004, is that what it is? It's like, I have light mode over here and dark mode over here, and I can't read her name on either one of them. It's like dark blue on black, or light green on white. I think it's TI? TI-1004, I think that's right. Hi. Hi to you. Alright, let's turn, this is like playing, this is like 10% volume right now. 10%. Loud track. Alright, so, starts in an hour or two. Okay, cool, well that's no sweat. Dip out when you need to. No big. Okay, so for everyone else who is sticking around, I guess for you as well, Tuba, this is Real Talk. We're having a look at some content, some game audio content from today. Matt Galt and Jonathan Urso. Urso Jonathan. And we'll see, I guess. I don't know if Jonathan's here or not. Jonathan was kind of a bit of a ghost after the initial submission. If you're here, Jonathan, please tell me in the chat. Please, tell me. Identify yourself, please. I wish you would. Bye. For the time being, I mean, maybe we'll do Jonathan second and see if they show up. Not sure. always a trick, because like with submissions in general, you know, I mean, given we have like a couple months wait beforehand, I'll usually reply back and be like, hey, cool, this is the date we have available. You have some time until then, so here is like the GDC talk that myself and Matthew Martinson from Clay Entertainment did. You'll probably learn something from that in the meantime, and then you can tighten your stuff up and deal with the broad strokes, so that when we get to your thing in like 3 months or whatever, we can dig into details. So I did all that, and then they didn't reply, so we'll see what happens. Sometimes they get back, sometimes they don't. And honestly, that's kind of also worth talking about a bit, because like if that was a scenario where like a project is involved or something, or let's say, well, yeah, I mean, really, like any kind of connection you can make, any friendship you can make in the industry is not going to be a bad choice. Like, basically, you make friends with everyone, and you'll be in good shape. Like, people like saying, like, don't be a dick, but it's of course beyond that. But that really is like the baseline, because you just never know where work might come from, at all. I mean, I'm happy to say that absolutely we have forwarded, projects that we didn't have time for or weren't a good fit for our team. We've absolutely forwarded those on to people I've met on Real Talk, or we have had overflow of work on our side and need a hand briefly, and we'll bring someone on briefly on contract to help out, right? I mean, why wouldn't we hire somebody we know is awesome already, rather than like doing a job posting and having to deal with that time sink, you know? Yeah. All right, in the meantime, let me get over to ISO again. I think I have a chill one here. How's 2? Is 2 chill? Doesn't look chill. Let's see. It's more chill. One sec. How's 3? It's not really a chill game, to be honest. It's a pretty rough game. I think 2 is the chill one of all of them. Let's go with 2. Ed, when is it good to send you a link? Anytime. Just throw it my way on. Was it Twitter? I think you hit us on somewhere. Yeah, just throw it on Twitter, and I'll update. Easy enough. This is making me nervous, Matt. This soundtrack is doing its job. It's doing its job. Making people nervous. All right. So this is Real Talk. We're having a look at some game audio demo materials from some up-and-comers in the game audio sphere who are looking to get, some gigs. It's a little more traction in whatever corner of the industry they're aiming for. And given that when you apply to any given gig, whether it's a studio style space, or if it's like a single developer or a small indie team or whatever, or a team like ours, you might not hear back because folks are busy. Understandable. It's not like a jerk move for them not to reply to you. It just means that everyone is busy, and it's not always the easiest thing to find time for that kind of response, you know? And when you don't hear back, you might think, oh, what did I do wrong? My stuff is so awesome. What the heck? And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're being that sounding board, and you're not applying to us or anyone in the chat, so we're happy to give you some feedback. And hopefully we can just increase your chances of landing that job. It's never a sure thing, but you can add like as many pluses to your content, to your reel itself, to your bio, to your website, to your portfolio, just as many pluses as possible. And you'll just increase your odds of getting the job, naturally. I mean, in the end, your entire goal when applying for any job position is to identify yourself or demonstrate that you are the least risk to the employer. You seem to be the most serious. That's your goal. That's what I mean by as many pluses as possible. That's really what they're measuring. They're saying who is the least risky, who is the least risk of messing this up for us and making our lives harder. That's what it comes down to. So we are going to be looking at a few things here on the stream. We're looking at these things down below. We're looking at presentation first, That goes, it goes for the website and the reel itself. For Jonathan, we only have a reel. We were just sent a YouTube link, so we'll talk about that in a second. But we have a website for Matt Galt, galtaudio.com, if you want to check it out. So we're looking at just the overall look of the site, kind of how easy it is to get around, if all the important information is there, if there's too much information, that kind of thing. For the demo reel, we're looking at things like the length and the flow and the titling and the information therein, and just everything besides the audio, basically. And for the material selection, down here, we're looking at what pieces may have been chosen to appear in the demo reel or in the portfolio itself, and what those pieces might suggest to someone about this person's, background in terms of their work history, or what their current skill sets might look like, or what they want to be doing in the future, or their future ambitions, the kind of things they want to be doing. Yeah, and then the third thing, content quality. We're looking at just, is it good? Just, is it sounding sweet? And if there's room to improve in terms of balance or panorama or frequency range or dynamics or dimension or interest, I'm happy to tell you what I think, and I'm sure the chat will tell you as well. I mean, of course, as many chatters know, feel free, as always. And finally, distinction is, are you standing out in some positive way? As I said, it's, they're looking to hire the least risky person, and standing out in a positive way means that maybe you seemed like a very low risk, but you weren't the least risky. And in that case, you might be hired next time around, or that person who was hiring might refer you to someone else who's looking for, a sound designer. It helps in a big way just to make a good impression, even if it means you weren't hired this time around. If you aren't hired and you come back and you've done a lot of work in the meantime, that looks very good, and you'll have a very high, much higher chances at that point of being hired, even compared to your previous attempt, right? So let's turn off this extremely stressful music. Who's on edge? For real talk, it's me. I'm on edge. Oh, just calm down, shake it off. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. All right, Matt Galt. Let's jump in. Okay, so we got show reel, about, projects, contact. Okay. Let's have a look here. So we got about. Hi, my name is Matt Galt. I'm a sound designer for games, born in Perth, Western Australia, and based in the US. Okay. Thanks for checking out my work. I've always found audio to be an amazing creative experience. The way it can create such powerful emotional responses, and how memorable immersive experiences is why I'm so passionate about it. In 2019, I completed my diploma of audio production at SAE Perth, which taught me the fundamentals of sound. In 2020, I moved to the US to be with my wonderful wife, where I now spend my time learning and refining my creative, technical, and recording skills. I'm excited to be part of the games industry and create some amazing experiences. Wonderful. Cool. Well, big move. First off, nice one. Let's go ahead and keep browsing. There's a vertical page, looks like. Is it vertical, or is it only kind of vertical? It's fully vertical. Nice one. Let's have a look, I guess, at redesigns first. So it says projects, and then we have redesigns. So is this like, are we just missing a project's header basically, and it has other things here? Seems like maybe. Let's see here. We got, right. So the whole like gray area basically is projects. Understood. So we got redesigns first. Got some World of Warcraft Shadowlands, some Insurgency Sandstorm, Warhammer, more Warhammer, and implementation. Cool. All right. So, finally, contact. Here it is. The classic. Here's my email, but also here's my form. Okay. Back to top. Great. Easy. I like this too. This is nice. It's me. Quick reminder. This frames atop. I like this. Just right. I mean, of course, it's kind of a given these days in Real Talk. I assume people know. But yes, real up front is very important. Having your reel be the first thing they see is awesome. Assume maybe this is all they're going to see on your entire web page. And if that's the case, you're good to go. Contact info and demo reel, all there. Okay, we got a minute long, a minute 1. Wonderful. 10x, the dream. Turn off my side chain and let's have a go. Sick. I realize I don't know for sure if my applause button's on. 1 second. I feel like this FL Studio session might be something else. Wait, let's try it. Hey! I have no memory of turning on that button whatsoever. That was sick. I was worried because that reel deserved applause. I actually, at 45 seconds in, I was like, oh no. Will I have claps? Oh no. Matt, I told you. Why are you worried, man? Come on. I didn't mention beforehand, but today we actually had a cancellation of another fellow, and they told me like a while back, but it's totally just slipped through the cracks somehow. So I realized today upon finding their info again, I was like, oh no. I went to Matt. I was like, do you mind if? And Matt just jumped in and then filled the slots. So thanks to Matt first. And then he says, I'm nervous. And I was like, man, you've been in the chat so much. And it's so rare that someone who's been in the chat that much that their reel is like not worth watching. You know, it's at least fine every time. Okay. So that was great. Super good. For those unaware, your goal in any demo materials should be to, well, your reel specifically, I should say, your goal is to make people want to hear more in 10 seconds. So it's like 4 seconds in. I'm like, yeah, let's keep going. Let's go. It's pretty sick. Oh, that's so, these little whip and twirls are so nice here. Oh, and the silence before the blast. There's some mature design in here. Very nice. Like, I actually want to hear this full redesign now. I'm curious though. So there's a variety of things. Other redesigns. So you said something in the chat. I did see it. Matt, what was it? I've only done redesigns at this point, so I should probably change it. Haha. Fair enough. Some chonky firearms, says Pomodi. Yeah. Yeah, what up, Jeff? Agreed, first. So solid. I'm jacked. Hello to all those folks in the chat clapping too. What up, Ashton and... Oh, what up? Sungha? I've never seen your name out loud before. Sungha? Sungha? Is that right? Sungha? I apologize if I'm butchering your name. But hello. It's good to see you. Okay, so let's get back in the reel again. Pretty sick. Let's talk about presentation of the reel. It's good. Next point. Super good. It's a minute long. Perfect, in my opinion, at least. We got... Yeah, the intro audio is not crazy complex. It's a J cut, right? Where it's like coming in beforehand before we see the visual. It's not complex, but it's kind of fine because it is part of the next scene. Won't worry too much. This intro is super bare bones. You're not winning any points here, Matt, but it's not a big deal. I mean, that's kind of thing, right? It's just those pluses, again, I've been talking about the whole time. This kind of thing, sing, sang, sung. Okay, sung ha, thank you. So the pluses, I mean, your design is great. So when we talk about things like, oh, we have the intro where it's like an animated graphic and stuff, and your name like assembles or something, or you have a a brand of some kind that has like an icon. You can like put the icon here, like that kind of thing just makes you look that much more serious, right? So that's certainly some room for improvement. It's just it's the kind of thing where like no one's gonna hire you specifically because you have an animating intro, but it just again just contributes to you looking like a very good a good bet as a hire. So carrying on though, we got my sidechain is on, but you're blasting. We've got a title, Apex Legends S9 trailer, Respawn. You can probably put Respawn here. This feels crowded a little bit. It's typically here. Just extend the opaque part to the right, good to go. Ashton says, logo animations are a great chance to showcase non-diegetic design as well. ArcSpace, what's non-diegetic? So diegetic and non-diegetic sounds are things you hear like from a sound source in the world, like they're coming from a thing in the media. So like this gunfire is like coming from the gun, right? But non-diegetic is stuff that exists kind of independent of the thing being filmed. So things like narration dialogue, or things like most music scores for most films, that kind of thing, unless the music's like in the shot on a radio or something like that, right? So yeah, well, this isn't even like non-diegetic isn't like the perfect definition of like the icon building or something, but it's more just abstract design, like just being able to freestyle something and do your own thing with it can be, yeah, it's very fun. Here we go. So what was I saying though? I was saying something important. I was saying something important before being horribly derailed. I apologize. Right, titles. So titles are crowded. That's all I was saying. Move it over here. But you're doing the Tzvi thing, right? You are. We're doing Tzvi every time. We're bringing it in full opacity. This is like the new thing for this year. I love it. For those of you unaware of what I'm talking about, Tzvi Sherman, is that his name? Sherman, I think it's his last name is. He reinvented the wheel. That is the lower third. We had the creme de la creme Josh Adam Bell with this style, just opacity full left, and then just have white on black and have the important words bolded. Oh, perfect. And then Tzvi rolls in. He's like, you know what? We can do better. And he brings it in full opacity and then fades over time like this. I'd almost argue you faded too soon, Matt. I think it faded a bit quick. I think it faded quickly and also too soon. Because the thing is, when it faded, it pulled my attention the first time, actually. It was like, whew. So I think you'd have it fade slow enough that the viewer doesn't even know it's happening. But then, if they do click back through again, they have the information here. Does that make sense? I think that should probably be your goal. And yes, Ezekiel, exactly. What's up, man? And yeah, after Josh saw Tzvi, then he changed his own. So there you go. Gotta be the creme. Gotta. And Arc, no sweat. Feel free to ask questions. Everyone, feel free to ask questions, of course. MuseHive, I don't know how to do this though. That's a very good point. I mean, the thing is, when people are hiring for sound design, they might not only be hiring for sound design, right? And the thing is being able to Google how to do like a basic effect or a basic title or something on some video editing software or something like that. I mean, that's something that you can just learn yourself, right? So being able to show this kind of content, or even hiring someone to do this edit for you, the things that you can't do yourself, that can go a long way, of course. Again, it just comes back to how serious are you, and the more you're doing things that just illustrate beyond only sound, it suggests very strongly that you're serious, because you're investing a lot of time and or money into your own personal portfolio and your work and your reel. And again, back to the risk thing, right? I mean, the more serious someone looks, the more they're going to be attractive to a potential employer, of course. Okay, so moving on. How's the transition here? Let's see. Smoke into a blizzard. Pretty sick. I love that stab, by the way. How sick is that? And those footsteps are so big, too. Man, made some cool choices here, man. I like it. Pretty cool. Ashton says, find some motion media students. I got all of my real assets in exchange for doing some sound design work on their portfolios. I've done paid work for them since, so it's been a great connection. That's very cool, Ashton. Thanks a lot. Very cool. And how's this? I missed the transition here. Okay, right. So I did recall being disappointed on the second one. I might even suggest not crossfitting the text. Like what a nuanced thing, what a nitpicky thing to worry about, right? But I think you can probably afford to just fade this out entirely at the very end, like fade the final second, half second out and half second in. Just feels a little cleaner for some reason. The fade to black though, I was like, oh, where's our cool transition? Didn't happen, but no big. It's all right. Like, I still recall, I mean, I recall most of the reels that have awesome, like cinematic style editing, where it's clear that they're taking this clip and cutting it into this clip at this specific moment. That's such a good look. It's such a good look. I mean, they're of course, we talk about like the various things that people might be paying attention to or watching for, but that's the kind of thing that just surprises me every time, because even if it's like a checkbox, like, yes, edited with mindfulness or something, I don't know how you're going to do it. Like it's a super creative, like white canvas. You can just take any two pieces and be like, how do they fit together? And just do it, and do it your own way, in a way that no one's probably seen before. I mean, something as simple as, I always bring up like Aaron Bowers, when you're in Subnautica and you climb a ladder and then you get to the top, you crest the ladder at the top in Soma, and just that transition was so easy. It's just a ladder. It's not like it's a crazy difficult cut. It's just like, yeah, now it's a ladder and you're done. But that sticks in my mind so hard. It's crazy. And like Jack Campbell, same thing a few months, or like 2 months back, a month back, and had the same thing, like the godfall, the hammer coming down, or the sword coming down into like the massive explosion. And then the pickup in, was it Anthem, I think, into like the fiery Metro Exodus. I think it was Exodus. Like I recall all these transitions. How crazy is that? Do you know how many reels we've seen on this show? So I'm just saying, like this thing here, like this transition is awesome. And because it's like he's emerging from the smoke. That's awesome. Super cool. So this kind of thing is not the end of the world by any stretch. Like, no one's gonna not hire you because of that. That won't be the deal breaker. But oh man, it's such a win when the transitions are awesome. I just love it. So good. Let me catch up on the chat a bit. Sorry, I've been ranting about transitions too much. Tuba Hero, good sign when he's struggling to nitpick. Yeah, I mean, it's true. There's a lot to look at here. There's always room for improvement. Like we've never seen a reel where like, yes, next. You know, there's always something you can talk about, of course. Myself, I've been doing this for 11, 12 years. And of course I have room to improve in a lot of areas, a whole lot. Okay, so it couldn't leave a better transition, Matt. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, definitely, because that's why it stands out so hard though when it's good, because it's not obvious. Like it takes a bit of like nuanced thought to be to have these pieces and be like, how is it lined? It's like a puzzle almost, you know? So yeah, you go into the second clip there, and then you're faced with, okay, well now where do I come out of this? And how do we move into something else? And what is that something else going to be? It's tricky, definitely. Okay, so Seven Lands bursting on the scene with some content quality feedback. There you go. Okay. And ArcSpace, don't feel like you shouldn't be here, yo. It's fine. Chill out. It's all right. Yeah, so ArcSpace and I go way back. ArcSpace has played a lot of power-up stuff, like Necrodancer and I think Celeste and such, right? I think so. Okay, so yeah, actually, Zephyros, there you go. When you're learning, you should always surround yourself with people that know more than you. Yeah, if you're the smartest person in the room, look out. It's a dangerous spot to be in. Stagnation. It's a real thing. Sungha says, I remember a few years ago having a 1-minute reel consisting of short 8 to 10 second clips was cool. Now Matt is bringing up the standard with smooth transitions, and I feel embarrassed by my old demo reel. I mean, yeah, you should see my demo. Like we've talked about demo reels of I mean, I wouldn't dare call myself like the old guard of game audio. I'm definitely a bit younger than that, but I mean, there are, give me a hot second. I think I just have it right here, actually. Like we had like Damien Kaspauer's reel on here some time ago, and it was like on a CD, like in a case that he gave to me at GDC. He's like, here you go for real talk, whenever you want. So yeah, but like my reel, I'm looking at it right now. It is a folder of files. That's my reel. I gave the first place I worked at, I gave them a CDRW of files. And there was like a PDF and they're like explaining what the files were. Like a nightmare. Nightmare. So bad. So yes, over time, I think expectation evolves. Of course, naturally. I think as just more people join the industry too, you're just faced with more competition. So it kind of has to evolve a bit. Yeah. Anyway, let's carry on here. Let's carry on. Right, shooty, and then what? And then here. Yeah, it's like not bad. It's cool. I appreciate the lineup of the reticle and the what do you call this? Iron sights? Is that what we call that? I'm not really a gun guy. It's cool, yeah. And he like responds to the gunshot. It's nice. It's a nice transition. So this is heartbreaking. I can't deal with the black. Oh, the fade to black is just, it's too bad. All right, so cool. We go to the end and what? Yeah, hard cut. Boom. So sure, yeah. I mean, on the whole, pretty damn solid. It's got a lot of like very good stuff in there. It's funny because it's like you're taking all these cues from reels that we've seen on Real Talk that have done an awesome job of communicating their own abilities and their strengths and doing it in a very like interesting and engaging way. But there's just a few places for like smoothing out rough edges, like how fast it fades out here and like of course, the missing transition, like, yeah, a few places there. But on the whole, great. Really solid. Let's see here. Tony, mine from 2016 has like 10 games each, about 7-8 seconds a piece, sorry. Finding sync points to splice in and out was tough, but worth it. Yeah, there you go. I recall your reel. Didn't you work on the like the pre-Rocket League game? Was that you? Like the 9-word title that game was? I can't recall what it was. Something about, I can't recall it at all. Something cars. I can't recall. I think that was you though. I think so. Let's see. Ashton wants to hear more Foley as he brings up the gun. Cool, we'll get to that. Nice. Okay. And Matt Fisher. One thing that stood out to me were the enemy hits on the Monster Hunter clip. Would like the player's shots on the monster to be a bit more audible for player feedback. Cool. Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Powered Battle Cars. Brutal name. What an awful title for a game. Oh, man. And they know it was awful. But it was a corrected error, so we're all good. Order was restored in the universe. Let's talk about presentation. No more. Let's go material selection. So obviously AAA stuff. Obviously. So the thing is, you did say it's all redesigns. That is worth noting, certainly. But the thing is, you know, we do say it's generally a good practice to think of your reel as like the only thing they might ever watch and put everything you have to offer in that reel as a quick glance. So if you can implement in, I mean, well, I'll say right now I have no idea. Like, I don't know what you can do. I did see these earlier, but I didn't really internalize them. So we have Unity, Fmod Unity, and Wise and Real. That's kind of the full gamut, right? There you go. So if this is true, then you may want to put it in there in some respect, somehow. You know, find a way to transition in a cool way. Why not? Yeah, just that's the one thing. But what I was going to say, though, it's tricky because if your stuff kicks ass, you can probably afford to take the risk of not showing them immediately. Because if your reel is like amazing and has awesome transitions and does the job of holding attention and be like, oh yeah, I want to hear more. If it has that goal achieved in its viewer, then they will go down to project and they will see this section. So it's really up to you. It's up to you in the end how much you think it's worthwhile to put in there. If you can find a good spot for it to go and it looks and sounds awesome, then cool. I do know that Soul City is not like a hype action kind of project. It's more like a walking around, you know, Dear Esther style thing. So it might be tough, but yeah, I'll leave it in your hands. Okay, so let's talk about the, I know the chat is hankering to talk about content quality stuff. My notes are like slim. So the chat, have a go, please. Let's have a listen to the first clip. Okay, so one thing you're doing really well, Matt, and I know it's something you're doing on purpose and you put a lot of thought and time into, and I really appreciate that, is that you're choosing what is at the front of the mix all the time. And this, I mentioned the footsteps earlier. These footsteps, I was like, whoa, that was the first time I played. It's like so big. Listen to the body fall versus the footsteps. And then the footsteps like, it's just like louder. Big foot. But it's kind of cool. You know, I'm not against the idea. So it's obvious you're bringing stuff to the front. Obvious. And I think that you're doing a pretty good job of it too. There's a few places here and there where I'm like, you as a sound designer are faced with a choice to make. Like, do I put the loud thing at the front of the mix, or do I put like the story point at the front of the mix? And sometimes it's the same thing, right? And other times you're forced to be like, well, does it make sense if this story thing's louder, or if this like, you know, loud thing is happening elsewhere, should this still be heard, even because it's important to the story? And sometimes it's not always obvious like what the story point is, like what is the most important thing to the story right now. So in the case right here, Like the dynamics on the flight is they're really nice. The up and down. So here, these explosions, I might take a different route on these. It's not bad by any stretch. But the movement feels really big. Like for where they are and the size on the screen, it seems a bit maybe inconsistent with the size earlier. Because like look at this size. It's like half the pain, you know? And we have that roar that comes into it. Right? We have that there. But then watch it, just track the size of the character in the frame as we move forwards. You know, we do kind of, there's these spikes where you're a bit close to the camera, a little bit, but then it moves back again, right? We're like back here, look how small. So it feels a little bit like the explosions are taking a back seat to the movement. Because the movement is they're arguing like this, it's the same story being told. It's not like one thing's more important than the other, so to speak. But I do feel like the explosions are probably louder than what's happening for you know where and how it's happening. I like how the explosions are very immediate and they drop off to make space for what comes after. That's very nice. It's like doof, doof, doof. It's nice as opposed to right. So the thing I'm saying though is you could like consider ducking the jet movement or even like pulling it back in intensity a little bit to bring these, because really like there's no explosions happening prior until there, right? So you know, so a little more like again here's the eyes closed test, right? Like see if you can track how close the character is to us the entire time. Let's go. So I'd argue the second half of that listening just now was pretty the same. Like from here on-ish. But you have room to pull back here. Like we're nitpicking big time. Look at this. This is like 1 second. Right? Like fix that. Put a little whoop right there. A little down and up. But I think, yeah, if you pull back after this like very close-up shot, that was the hero moment, really, of this flight. So we have room for these explosions, because right now there's a bit of stomping going on, and like the chat's saying, maybe some sub low end, or more initial crack, said Natasha. Yeah, so just the movement here, I feel, could probably get like ducked a bit by the explosions, just to have the explosions stick through the mix a little more. Let's take a little more space. It's cool though. On the whole, really solid. Great shots here. I love the shot sound. So thumpy. The thumps here too, really nice. The gunshots. Oh, lovely. And what's great here too is that the shots here, here, those shots feel to me like they live in the same universe as these ones. You know? And that's mature as shit. That's awesome. Like the idea of establishing audio direction in your reel is like, oh, lovely. So that's a very, very good look. And not very common. Like it's usually like, does it sound cool at all? And that's kind of it. But yeah, having some established like boundaries for how things sound is very, very nice. And the thing is, I know that it's not, or rather I have inferred that it's not like that is your style and that's how all your stuff sounds, and that's why like an audio direction inherently exists. Because the next clip isn't that. There aren't these like these big like whistly things and thumpy things. It's not really how you design. So, I mean, nice work, Matt. Really nice. Let's move into the next clip. Like the it sounds massively different than the previous clip immediately. Ugh. Let's go. Oh, ship that. So nice. I do think the feet are too big. The feet are awesome being big, but I think they're too big. Every time they play, it's distracting me. Oof. And I think it's also because... Let me see, I have my sidechain off, so I'm going to turn my sidechain off for a second. So we have sync. Sync will be correct now. There's like a 0.1 second delay due to just my setup's structure, I guess, like the routing and such. So I think these feet are maybe a bit too like that, you know? But the thing is, we're so close to it that when you're this close to something, you kind of there's this demand for like nuance and detail, you know? Like we can see exactly what's happening with this footstep. It's not like, well, I'll use like Celeste as an example, right? You're walking away, like you're seeing the character this big on the screen, and the feet are like 7 pixels total each, right? So it's like you just have this each time, and the sound of the feet in Celeste is just like, this is that. So with this though, it's like obviously like heel toe, we see the entire expression of that footstep. So, but listen to it, close your eyes, 3, 2, 1, and you know, it feels a little like punching through snow, almost like, where I expect a little more like, whoosh, you know? Natasha, you know what? You could try some cinematic sound for that footstep. Make it a little less realistic, a little more emotional. Have to play around with the sound. Might work, might not. Yeah, there's not much, that's some non-diegetic stuff we're talking about again, right? Is that what we're saying? Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, possible. Might change the style of the whole piece. To have a single cinematic thing in there here, like just dropped in, might be out of place. But if you take that approach to all of it, then perhaps, yeah. I just think that having a little more like, it just feels like it's this bam when there's an obvious heel toe. Does that make sense? Have a little more whoosh, the whole thing, the whole expression as a phrase. And then again. See, here, you can get away with that because we can't see the feet, right? But not here. Not this close. So, let's go back here again, though. I want to talk about things in detail. Let's see. Cool pre-life. Very nice. And the thing is, so we've said before on Real Talk plenty to think about pre-life, and what we mean by that is to hear things before we see them. So whether they're off screen, left or right, or maybe above or below, or if it's just like not in the shot yet, if the cut is like coming and now we could hear it before we see it. There's a lot of maturity that you can convey and you can communicate in your own work by hearing things before you see them. You're designing sound outside the frame, basically. But with here, it kind of makes sense not to because of the context of the scene, right? Like, where is anything? And even here, you can see the head is like, oh, geez, and kind of like double takes and comes back to that direction again. So there was definitely no warning of this coming. So I like the suddenness of it. It's cool. Yeah, so I agree. Ezekiel, good call. I was gonna bring that up too. Some of the voices sound like they're in the wrong space. I think the non-monsters sound kind of roomy. Like that one, for instance. You hear that? So, Cool voice performances, not bad at all, but just be aware there are risks involved with that kind of thing. And yeah, when you have some moments where you're obviously not in a room and it sounds like a room, it can be a bit immersion breaking and pull you out of it. Happens. Okay, so yeah, Derek, there you go. So Derek thinks some distant ghostly voices would help set up the scene, in my opinion. Well, there you go. So from my perspective, I kind of like the idea of this being a sudden attack, but from Derek's, he might design it differently. And that kind of thing would be really that kind of decision would be made like in the room with the various creative leads, being like, do we want to hear this or not? Is it right for the story? But for your own redesign, go to town, do whatever you want. So one thing, I think you're doing a pretty great job of characterizing these different weapons and, well, not weapons, but like articulations, like a stab or a thrust or a swing. They don't sound the same, which is nice because we certainly hear that plenty on Real Talk. You hear like woof, 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 or woof, woof, woof. And it's like a forehand, backhand, thrust, and it sounds like woof, woof, woof. It's not quite telling the story, right? Whereas this is doing a much better job. However, I think you still have some room to improve on some of the swing stuff. It's a bit singular in its movement. Like these swings, like, but you may have room for like, right, like, on the pitch curve, to have a little more indication of things like, you know, it's like a slight, it's faster at the peak. It helps just illustrate a bit more movement over time rather than just intensity. Intensity helps, but can be a little different and just a slight improvement. Like bring some high frequency into it just briefly. It's like, what was that, flaming sword or something like that? Is that what this is? It seems, yes. So having like a kind of sizzling, crackling or something, some fire distortion maybe at the peak of the swing. When I'm designing whooshes, I often mark them on the timeline in 3 places. Any kind of whoosh, and by whoosh I mean thing moves from point A to point B in some way. So at the start of the whoosh, I'll put a marker that's just labeled B, just means beginning. And I'll put at the end of the whoosh, which means usually when it's like stop moving entirely, I'll put an E for end, and then an important third marker goes in the middle, and that's H for height, and that's like the acme of the swing. Because the thing is, if you have like an attack like this, let's say it's like a 2 second long kind of thing, right? It could be like, or it could be, right? There's a lot of space for like different movements within that single 2 second space, and having a little more love given to that important part of the whoosh can help a lot in further illustrating the details of a story, right? So things like these are made of fire helps certainly. Yeah, that's like big time nuance nitpick, but it's just I love talking about that kind of stuff in this show, so appreciate that. Also this, so again, the mix is really active here. We're hearing this, the background's still going, but this is by far at the front. This is definitely louder than it would be if you were standing there watching it, right? Yeah, this is tricky. Like, I'm sure you probably had this problem too. Like, where do you start this whoosh? Because it starts here. You can see it. It's coming down. That's probably fine. The camera cut reveals the whoosh. It's all right. Okay, moving on. Baker, Jamie, what's up, buddy? It's a small thing, but yes, when the body falls, I think the sound of his armor and weapons hitting the floor is missing. Oh, with the footstep? I was so focused on the footstep, I didn't even look at the body. Yeah, sure. So that's the one you're talking about, right? Yeah, I agree. This is kind of suffering from the same thing the footstep's suffering from, is we're pretty close to this. And we see like the body coming down, and it's the only thing in the shot. So you have room to be really detailed in that storytelling. It's not like the body fell in a scene like this and the body fell like here or something. Like, who cares about that one? Just put some basic whatever on it and it's going to be fine probably in the mix. But with clips like this, yeah, this is like all that matters. And in fact, even the feet falling in the back, like we have the magnifying glass out big time right now. But the thing is, we have all the information on this body fall, right? Look at this. Feet up, feet down. So you have certainly space to tell a little more of the story here. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's move on to... yes, move on to, let's see, 35 seconds-ish. And by the way, I'm taking a little more time on Matt's actively here because A, I haven't seen Jonathan say anything in the chat. So that's a thing. And also it's only a video for Jonathan's, and also it's 2 minutes long. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see. But let's carry on. I'm not a guns guy, as I say over and over on this show, but we'll have a look at this. If there are any guns experts in the chat, please make yourself known and drop some hot takes. Go for it. Tasteful tinnitus is one thing. It's not very loud. The arrow finish. I will say the arrow finish was like a little strange for me. It was fine. Ugh. Like there's room for something cool. Like what's the result of the arrow shot? You know, I want to have like some big groaning death body fall or something. You know, you have room here. This feels unfinished. You can do more. You can do more with this, by the way. Do more with it. But shooty. Jamie says, one thing I'd like to hear is some of the mech details when firing in first person. Yeah, sure. It's like very, very gunshot focused, eh? Totally. See, it's so nice here too, because the thing is, this is a great example of, like, this could easily have been a clip where it's like a controlled video capture. We were standing in the middle of nowhere and shooting into the sky or something. We've seen that many times where it's like just, you know, here is a gun in isolation shooting. And that's kind of what this is anyways. But there's a few things happening elsewhere, but it's really, really focused on the gun. And yeah, does it change when you're down the sight? I thought so too. Yeah, it feels like the high ends rolled off or something like that when it's on down the sight. I don't know. Please tell us your secrets, Matt. Please. Yeah, I'm gonna skip feedback on the gun stuff because it's not my forte. I have more mech as the clip gets empty. Perhaps I said, oh, just incidentally, it was emptying on the not down the sight shots. Sure, okay. Let's have a look at the next clip here. Monster Hunter World. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I saw someone say something earlier that was like, I want more reaction on the monster or something. Is that what it was? I'm trying to find it. Who said this? Someone said this. I know for sure. Ugh. I'm sorry, I missed it. Whoever it was, I apologize. Whoever it was. Hits on the monster feel kind of anemic. Would be nice to have some snappy impact. Yeah, I kind of agree. There's just the impacts are kind of just they don't feel like, I'm not even sure that it's hitting, you know? So I'm not sure, like, am I hearing the impacts even? Because they don't seem synced the same way. Like the first impact is on like a of some kind. Like I don't play this game. I don't know what you're shooting with. So right there, right? And then the second one is it's like I'm just not sure if that's even the sound of the impact. Like it could probably be a little more, like bring a little more attention to itself. Like it's really quite like low mids, like mid, low mid, even low focused. There's a small impact with gore, but I think I accidentally left it super low in the mix. It's possible. It's a classic. You know it's there, so you can hear it, but we don't, so we can't hear it, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, just something a little snappier in there to show us that yes, we're hitting it, and yes, it's doing damage. All right. WME, hang out, whatever. No sweat. Thanks for being here. Yeah, again, the charge being all low. Just be careful, Matt, with sounds that are chilling out in low mids. It's mostly an issue in low and low mids. Mids a little bit, but mostly low and low mids. For a few reasons. One is just like mud and clutter is really dangerous down there. So focusing this kind of charge. Like I didn't hear this charge once until someone said charge in the chat. And I was like, oh, there's a bow charge. Because I was focused here. And that low growling like roar of the charge, I thought was the monster. So just, yeah, be aware of that it can get lost in a mix real easy. And secondarily, when you have sounds that are focused in low frequencies, be aware of the systems that people are listening to your game on. People could have their ear pods in, right? Or just like some crappy laptop speakers or something like that. In which case, they might not even hear your bow charging sound. It's all based in low end, right? They probably hear something in this case, but I've heard examples where it's like a whoosh, like an attack whoosh, and it's like only subs, like it's only sub bass. And I think, well, that sounds great in your home studio with the subwoofer, but when like Jenny plays it at home on her crappy computer speakers, she might hear nothing at all. It's very possible. So let's carry on. Cool. Nice monster noises, by the way. I like the follow-up. Cool. Tony says, also, this particular game doesn't really have a shot-per-shot reaction from targets. Yeah, no, I get that too. I almost said that there's no like sound for the hits for the monster, but like I kind of suspected that wasn't the case in this game anyways, and I probably wouldn't do it that way if it were my choice. But I think the hits from the weapons should probably be at least audible, like to make sure they are hitting, right? Yeah, it could be a thing. Jamie, I'm thinking the proximity of the monster roars could be a bit more readable. He runs towards you, but the roars feel like they're all at the same distance. That's a thing too. Sure. I like it. Yes, totally. bring in some low end or something. Just make it quieter when farther away. Just, yeah, help. I mean, that's the kind of thing that kind of sound design or sound implementation, really, in that case, is the kind of thing that can really drive someone's, heart rate up, right? Get their blood pumping because something got loud and scary. That's a very real thing. Why not? Okay, cool. Well, I can probably wrap it there. It's like 106. I do want to glance down here, though. Implementation. Let's see Soul City. Let's go. 17 seconds? What the heck? Let's go. This is so short. All right, so that was weird. I can say Matt. That was unexpected. Is this also 17 seconds? 24 seconds. These are the shortest implementation videos I've ever seen. The shortest by a wide margin. Like wide margin. Every time I click implementation anything, it's always like an 8-minute breakdown or something like that, right? Yeah, these are not in line. I feel justified and safe in saying these videos are not in line with what someone might expect. So be aware of that, Matt. I would instead recommend the kind of thing you've seen on this show over and over again. And you're probably well aware of that, and I suspect you may even have plans for it. So yeah, just get a longer form video of you, rehearse it, get it really tight. Do it like it's a talk in front of a room at GDC, and just talk about your cool project and all the cool things you did, and be like, thanks for watching, see ya. Because that's the kind of thing that if people are watching that at all, like, you've already succeeded, because no one's clicking that first. They're only clicking that if they care. If they're like, well, Matt's awesome, apparently. This seems to suggest at least that Matt is awesome. So let's have a look at the videos. And these, it's cool that you show that you are working in these tools, these engines and such, sure. But it's not necessarily what people would expect to see. Oh, nice shimmering. Okay. Yeah, so enough said there. That's fine. Okay, so yeah, 110. Let's stop there, Matt. Distinction, setting out, yeah. Super good. I think on the whole, the reel is tight. There is room to improve, as we said, as there always is. But on the whole, like, really solid. I mean, if someone's looking for like a junior designer at a AAA studio, like, you'd obviously be on the list. Obviously. You'd be on the probably on a call list, I mean, yeah, the thing is, your reel is your design itself is strong enough that, like, the small kind of pitfalls here and there that we've mentioned in terms of like presentation, in terms of your site's like kind of branded, but like not really. It's got some woods in the background and like you by a river. Like, it's not super branded, but it's kind of fine in the end. It's not a big deal. But if your site was like really slick and had like some crazy branding and looked awesome, then all the better, just keep getting those pluses, rack them up. Okay, so maybe one of these, Matt. Super good. Super good. I was looking forward to see yours, actually. As I said, and unsurprisingly, it was good. There you go. Okay, so before we dive into Urso Jonathan, I want to just mention something quick. So, Jonathan, if you watch this VOD, because I assume still you're not in the chat. I don't think you're here from what I can tell. which is fine. We've certainly had plenty of people not be in the chat. It's generally better because, of course, we can have more back and forth and talk about your ambitions and motivations and the choices you made and that kind of thing. But so Jonathan hit us up, and it was via Twitter. And the thing is, it happened some time ago. It happened because, of course, we have like a 3-month wait right now, right? So it was some time ago. And to be honest, when it comes to a Real Talk, stream date, I spend a small part of my morning just getting prepared, getting this button good to go. Naturally. Getting that button good to go and like getting the websites up and everything and like tweeting saying like, hey, today we're like these people. And I could not find Jonathan anywhere. I was like, what where did this person submit? Like, was it via email? It was like on my LinkedIn, which has happened. Was it like on like my personal Twitter or like PowerUp's Twitter? Like, what the heck? And I finally found it. And the thing is, so Jonathan, I'm not looking to drag you in the dirt here, but I want to tell you this is a potential issue, right? So I was actively looking for you so hard. I was searching your name on the internet. I was trying to find like if you had a website, like, so on this reel, here's the sound design reel, demo reel 2021. I have not watched this yet, so I don't know if there's more information. There's no contact info here, unless it fades in, doesn't seem to. There's no contact info. Down here, there's just your name, and I searched your name and I came up with nothing. Like, if someone wanted to hire you, they cannot hire you. Like you are disallowing them from actually taking the step to give you the job. It's really, really, really risky. That's a huge, huge issue to fix. And again, like, I was looking for you so hard, and I finally found you by scrolling back and looking through the DMs one by one, because I wanted to tell you that it was today was the stream. And I finally found this page, which is you. But there's nothing about your reel or a website or your name or anything here. So it's, just be aware this is a people industry, and it is worth being clear like what person you are in some respect with a website or your Twitter handle or something, it's not directly related to like the demo reel in this case, but it's so damn important. So please, please, please consider. All right. Okay. So we got a reel to look at. It is 2 minutes and 16 seconds long. So we'll see. I did email, I did Twitter DM rather, a link to the talk that Matthew and I had done at GDC that covered kind of all the common issues here and there. And what happens occasionally in that case is someone will they'll watch it, and then in the interim, the months leading up to the recording date of the real talk that the person's on, they might just tweak some things here and there according to that video. But it looks like that might not have happened here, so that's also a consideration, just like from my personal perspective. So it's that leads back to things like, oh well, is this person serious? Because if you can imagine, if you're if you're doing things like applying for work or looking to stay in touch, and again, it's a people industry, so doing things like following up and doing things like being visible and doing things like making improvements over time and coming back and like updating people on projects. I'll get emails from people who have been on Real Talk who would just like email me to say like, hey, I'm not looking to submit again, but I redid my site. Check it out when you have time. If you have time. Just like, here you go, leave without expectation. And I'm like, sweet. I love hearing what people are doing. It just looks very good. It's like, again, it's visibility. Again, we are not alone in this, Power Up, myself, we make recommendations to other people as far as like up and comers and such. If there's like something that's maybe a not a great fit for our team, I'll of course be like, hey, check out this person. They're up and coming. They are someone you might consider hiring before someone else does. That kind of thing, right? So just be aware that this is only a demo reel stream, only a demo reel review stream, but it all goes a long way in terms of just supporting yourself moving forwards in your own career, of course. So let's have a look at Jonathan Urso. Let's go. Okay, so this is that Mr. Sandman in the background? The music? Mr. Sandman. Yeah. So that's probably not something you should do. I don't usually stop the reel immediately unless there's a good reason for it. Like if it's lost my attention, or if I had not been streaming, if I would just like close the window if I'd seen enough. In this case, that kind of step is like maybe a bit much. Watch the whole thing. We'll watch the whole thing through, but I am immediately a little bit concerned about how this is going to go. Let's go.
Bon, ils ont l'air de bien aller. Qu'est-ce qui se passe encore?
Changement de mission. On va d'abord s'occuper de remettre le courant.
Fatality. Devoro wins.
This is very long. We'll keep watching. Whoa, and that's it. Okay. I mean, yeah, Jonathan, this is like, there's a lot of, you have a long way to go. Yeah, it's, there is some decent design in here. There is a foundation, certainly. But when it comes to, again, this show is not just about the sound design. It is about presenting yourself, or it is about how to present yourself and your work in the interest or in the effort of being hired by an individual or a team or whatever. And this, so it's only a video. It's only a YouTube video. And this was uploaded in March, so not too long ago. And let's go, I'm curious, because we have like nothing to go on here. So what will probably happen is if they wanted to learn more about you, they might click this. So on your page, you have one, so a resound design from 2 years ago from Mutant New Zero. And there is a, which is actually in your main reel too. And we have something from oh, this is 45 minutes. I don't know what this is. This is from 5 years ago. So there's not much to go on here. This is kind of the same thing we're already looking at. So that's already a huge issue. Is it just doesn't, like, your goal is to communicate to people you look serious, like you are serious about doing this as a career, because the fact of the matter is this person who's looking to hire is if they're looking to hire, there is a massive exchange of trust there. They're looking to trust you with their baby. If it's an indie developer, they may be working on their like bucket list game, right? This is the last thing. This is like the one thing I want to make, and past that we'll see. But this one thing, I got to make it. And if they're going to hire someone, they need someone they can trust to get the job done, and who is serious and engaged and passionate. And so when there are factors like there is no website, it's not like that means you're bad or that you're not serious. It does, however, mean that you will appear less serious than someone else who does have those things covered, who does have a website with a slick branded logo animation at the beginning and cool titling and smooth transitions. Like, you might be the same skill level, but if the presentation and communication of your skills is poor or lacking, then you're just going to lose, even though you might be a better sound designer or a same level sound designer. So with this, no website's a big issue. The no contact info is huge. Like, I want to hire you and I can't, you know? And then the length is very long. I don't think it's all games. I can't even recall all the things that are in here. This definitely smacks of like the reel on the whole. Okay, we'll move into presentation here. So the length is brutal long. The intro is silent for almost 5 seconds. It's pretty painful. Keep in mind, if someone's hiring, some company is hiring, it seems like you're going after AAA, giving you redesigns. There's like Last of Us 2 and Mankind Divided and stuff. So if you're going AAA, bear in mind that the people applying for this job are plentiful. There are many, many applicants and candidates for junior positions in AAA companies. Submerged tapes. Good to see you again. It's like my favorite memory is your tape not being submerged. Yeah, so good to see you. Have a good one. So because there are so many people applying for the role, that means that the people recruiting are forced, or are then tasked with watching through all these things. And if they need to watch hundreds of demo reels, this 5 seconds can feel downright rude. And the thing is, I know you are not trying to be a jerk with a 5-second intro. You're not trying to be like, ha, tricked you. You watched 5 seconds of silence. I know that wasn't your goal. But when you're when your reel is like the 180th one they've watched and they need to sit through 5 seconds of silence, this 5 seconds is like magnified so hard compared to 5 seconds of you like making a sandwich or something like that, right? Like, this 5 seconds hurts. Actually, it's painful. And then to start on an impact is so risky, because if it's silent, maybe they think their audio got messed up somehow in the interim. So they're listening to it. They go, oh, geez, what the heck? And they go to crank their audio, and suddenly, whoosh, blast their ears off. Risky move. Again, very risky. It's why having some sound, a J cut in the beginning, is a huge help, because it can help people just immediately be at peace and just sit back to watch, to consume the media you have prepared for them. That's the idea, at least. So this titling here is pretty rough. It is the bare minimum, just text on the screen, and then it is gone. So that's rough, because if we're clicking back through, we want to be able to see what the thing was that we, just saw you design there. And isn't the game fully called something else, like Mutant Years Road to Eden, right? Isn't that what it is? Yeah, so the couple things with this. Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden is the full title of the game, I believe. Unless I'm mistaken, please chat, tell me if I'm mistaken. And on top of that, who's it by? Let's see here. I'm just going to search this really fast. It is by... I can't find it. What the heck? By Funcom and the Bearded Ladies Consulting. There you go. So, having the developer next to this, much like we just had, from Matt, is a nice point of courtesy because you're using their stuff for your own professional development. And also, it's like spelling the name right with like the right capital letters and stuff is a nice show of respect, and it's a good point of detail to hit. It's just this does not convey a lot of like attention to detail, and when you see things like this, it's easy to make assumptions that absence or that apparent absence of attention to detail may extend into other parts of your work as well. They might think that you might have problems in a team. You would make small mistakes here and there. That's an easy assumption to make, even though it might not be true. That's just what the result is. And yeah, it goes away. Okay, so the first transition happens where? Here it is, right here. Oh, before this. So pretty sudden. We've talked about transitions, and the transition there is, it's just a hard cut, obviously. Hard cuts aren't the worst thing to ever happen, but the rest of the cuts in the whole piece illustrate there was not a lot of thought, or maybe any thought given to the order or the timing at which these transitions took place. Again, the name of the game, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It's nice to have the full name there and the developers, and also your sound redesign here is the title's in a different place, and it's like spelled differently, like RE hyphen versus not that. There's just a lot of, I think the font's even different. Is that true? The font's a little bit different too. So just consistency is lacking big time. This one here, Past, again, just a lot of detailed stuff missing. I have no idea what this game is. I've never seen this before. So where I may have played a game like Mankind Divided, I did play this game. It was fine. I did not play Past, so I have no idea if this is a game. Well, it seems to be a game you worked on. It says sound design and voice recording. But did it ship? Is it like a game jam thing? Is it your personal project? What is this? Just help us out. Because knowing you shipped something can go a very long way, and this is not helping us out at all. Yeah, is this a film or is this a game here? I don't know for sure if it's a redesign too, so I don't know what this is at all. So I can't really weigh in on it if it's a game or if it's a film or what. Mortal Kombat. This is MK11, I think. You get the idea. I'm gonna skip the rest of them. There's errors through all the errors and issues on all the titling. Only Foley recording. I don't know what that means. Okay, so let's move into presentation of the material selection. So, it seems like it's just everything you've done, kind of front to back, and you could stand to trim, select only your best, hottest stuff that best communicates the kind of things you want to be working on. That's kind of it. I just don't know what you want to do because stuff is so, it's so different. I could assume maybe AAA because you got Last of Us in here. We got Deus Ex. We got some pretty high def stuff, but on the whole. And finally, content quality. There are some good things here and there, certainly. Some good nuance right here. Not bad. Yeah, the shot there is pretty singular. A little more, read up on gun design. Things like having a full phrase as a gunshot rather than a single syllable. Yeah.
Bon, ils ont l'air de bien aller. Qu'est-ce qui se passe encore?
Changement de mission. On va d'abord s'occuper de remettre le courant.
I mean, yeah, it's voice, sure. I can't really assess anything about this clip.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe encore? Qu'est-ce qui se passe encore?
Changement de mission.
Qu'est-ce qui se...
There was a pop at the end of the sound.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe encore?
Changement de mission. On va d'abord s'occuper de remettre le courant.
Yeah, just some more detail here. I just can't really do much with this clip is all. This story is about the character and the thing underneath, and a bit of the ambience. So I'd like to hear a lot more of the specificity of what's happening with the character, like the footsteps and the falls, and we don't hear much. There's a little bit there, but not a whole lot. I like the impacts here too. Don't really hear any whooshes. The impact's kind of a bit light and doesn't sound like it's very powerful. But it's like a big stick, you know? Big bamboo stick. I don't know. Yeah, I want to be clear. TM base. So yeah, you're right. The opening clip is not bad at all. It's nice. The music, unfortunately, put me off pretty significantly. I understand why you did it, because the jukebox is there. I get it. But just, like, you need to have your own stuff in this video, you know? Yeah. And the same thing with Mortal... Was there the voice at the end?
Fatality. Devoro wins.
That's the voice from the game, is it not? It sure sounds like it is.
Win. Devoro wins.
Unless you're just awesome and sound like that. It's very possible. I might be off base. But I think that's the game audio.
Fatality.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in here too. I think on the whole, you can still use more detail here and there. Like this fall here, we don't really hear any of it. This moment here, the bursting forth. Close your eyes for a moment. Let's listen. It's like whoosh. It's there, but some more explosive action there. It's so immediate. Look at this. It's like we're boom out of the chest so fast. A lot more, like pushing ribs out of the way, cracking, stuff like that, bursting through. Can be a little more immediate. And like the movement there, we get into kind of like nondescript squishing gore territory. I do like the background cinematic stuff. The and stuff is kind of nice to add in there here and there. However, this is so, like, there's so much detail in the visuals and the storytelling that we just have to get in there with the sound design too. You have to, totally. Use some more gross vegetable crushing sounds here, says Jamie. Totally, as the MK sound designers did it. Yeah, wasn't this Steven Schaffler? I think he designed this. Very nice. Cool crack at the end. Nice little yell. But yeah, be aware of the voiceover. Red Dead. So is that dum sound the UI coming up? Because that's a bold sound for UI. Dum dum. It's a little bit crazy. Might get a bit annoying over time, maybe? Maybe? Probably. Oh, what's happened there? Something weird in the transition. Yeah, the gunshot here, this gunshot sounds quite distant. The farther one isn't so bad. It's all right. But in general, yeah, it's important to communicate some differences between like the thing in front of your face and the thing far away. Totally. And this, Song of the Sea. I mean, yeah, that kind of caught me off guard the first time too. Like nothing really happens here. The sound redesign it's like ambience only, which is kind of a bold move. And given that it seems like you're aiming at AAA, this is not helping you at all, and I wouldn't even have it in this reel. Moving on. There is some nice stuff in here. It seems like you probably recorded some things for this. Seems like it. It feels that the ending's so crazy. It just ends. It feels at times like it's too active. Like there's more things happening in the audio than I believe would happen if I were standing there. Like it's a screwdriver, you know, right here. There's like it's so multifaceted in the sound design, but it's just we're just doing this on a screw. So I don't know. And then here as well at the end. It's like a lot of movement sound. Like there's so much jostling in the sound there. But there are no moving parts. You can see very, very clearly that nothing is moving. So at the beginning, there's a great, like very dry movement across the countertop. Like that's, you know, maybe not exactly what it should sound like, but pretty close. And then like this drop, it's all like very, right there is awesome too. Like it's all very what you see is what you get. And at the end, you kind of move more into like stylized, like cool gun sounds territory, which is not maybe quite what Last of Us 2 is. I think yeah, the ending that needs some love. Okay, I'm already over time here, so I'm gonna stop it there. Distinction? No, I mean absolutely not. There is a long way to go here if you're serious, Jonathan. I mean, you know what? For all I know, you already hired somewhere. It's possible, and you just didn't need to put the more time into it. It's possible, but if you do want to get in AAA and you're not there yet, then I can tell you, you definitely have a long way to go. So I would recommend you watch that video I linked to you, and certainly you know, plenty of notes here as well. And look into the website thing. There's a lot of space for improvement in a lot of different areas. So you certainly you have a good foundation here, but I think on the whole, a lot more focus is needed if you're serious about working in the game space. So thank you, Jonathan. And for anyone else who is looking to perhaps have their stuff reviewed on stream, feel free to submit down below at our website, powerupaudio.com, or via Twitter if you're on there. Mine is down below, Regan McKay, or the studio, Power Up Audio. It'll get to me either way, and I will slot you in. I think right now we're doing like September for next open slots. So if you're currently like working on your stuff, you're like, I won't submit yet, it'll be ready in 3 months. Just submit now. Just submit now and save yourself a wait. All right. So thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and put on some sick, stressful tunes again to let Matt Galt calm down after a fine showing. All right, cranking it. Thanks all. See you.